Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is the camera review of the Samsung J6. Now these are the specifications. On the rear, this phone sports a single 13 megapixel camera with f1.9 aperture and an LED flash. On the front, it is an 8 megapixel camera with f1.9 aperture. This is how the camera interface looks like, just like all the previous Samsung phones, with different modes on either side. Now let's look at some sample pictures. This phone supports Auto HDR, so all these pictures were taken with Auto HDR. While taking HDR shots, capturing speeds are slightly slow. For regular shots, capturing speeds were okay. When dynamic range is involved, images look faded and colors look dull. On an AMOLED display, images might look good, but when you see the same image on a normal IPS display, colors look dull, as if there is no life in the image. Sharpness and dynamic range look good. Even for regular shots, colors are slightly dull. Now while taking macro shots, phone struggles a little with autofocusing, but once it is able to focus, you get a nice bokeh effect. Images look slightly overexposed and colors have more contrast. Now Samsung might have toned down the colors to make them look good on the phone, but as I've said, if you look the same image on other phone, it will look pretty bad. By the way, there is no portrait mode for the rear camera. Now these are some images taken in low light indoor conditions. In low light, images are sufficiently bright with good color reproduction and good sharpness. Like with any other phone in this price segment, images are soft, but it does a good job with minimizing the noise. Now coming to selfies, even in good lighting conditions, selfies are overexposed a bit to make you look fair, but that affects the color reproduction and the colors look faded. Sometimes even our face looks a little blown out. Capturing speeds and dynamic range are good. When there is a bright background completely blows out like these images. On the whole, this phone takes good selfies, but not the best ones. Now coming to portrait selfies, here are the sample shots. On Samsung, it's called the selfie focus mode. In these pictures, subject looks good, but the edge detection and the background blur effect isn't perfect. And it is not even as good as phones like Redmi Note 5 Pro or the Honor 9 Lite. Most of the time, it does an okay job. Now coming to low light performance, here are some selfies taken in low light indoor conditions. Selfies are bright and have good color reproduction, but they are soft. Just like with regular selfies, when there is a bright background, or in our case something bright or white, it's completely overexposed and that affects the color reproduction. In good lighting conditions, it takes good selfies, but in random bad lighting conditions, it does just an okay job. Now coming to video recording, here's the sample footage. We can only record video at a maximum of 1080p at 30 fps, and this phone doesn't offer any kind of stabilization, so the entire footage is pretty shaky. Now coming to the footage itself, footage is overexposed and colors look very dull. Personally, I don't like the footage at all. Now coming to the low light performance, here's the sample footage. Now this is the footage recorded on the Samsung J6 using the rear camera at 1080p resolution in low lighting indoor conditions. Colors look a bit faded and the entire footage looks dull. Maybe it's okay, but I think it could have been much better. Now coming to the front camera video recording, here's the sample footage. So guys, this is the sample footage recorded using the front facing camera of the Samsung J6 in 1080p resolution. By the way, audio is from the phone itself, so check out the noise cancellation offered by the phone. And I'm just gonna walk around so you can see the stabilization as well. Once again, we can record video at a maximum of 1080p at 30 fps and there is no stabilization, but we do get a wide angle footage. Now coming to the footage itself, footage is slightly overexposed, even the colors look slightly faded, but it's still usable. At times, background is completely overexposed, but it makes sure that the subject is always in focus, so that's a good thing. Now coming to low light performance, here's the sample footage. So guys, this is the footage from the front facing camera of the Samsung J6 recorded in low lighting conditions. Now this is the same kind of footage you might get if you're doing video calls from this phone. Now I'm just going to move around so you can check out the different lighting conditions and how the footage changes noise cancellation, as well as stabilization offered by the phone. In low lighting conditions, colors look slightly dull, but the entire footage has good brightness and details. So guys, to conclude, cameras on this phone are just okay. They are definitely not worth the price. For starters, no dual camera setup, so no portrait mode for the rear camera, no electronic image stabilization for video recording, and it simply does a bad job with the rear camera video. Even selfies don't look all that impressive. So guys, looking at the sample pictures and the sample footage, what's your take on the camera performance of this phone? Let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It really helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video on this phone or any other phone out there, let us know by commenting below this video and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.